Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgie, and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi no Ko episode 5. So, what did I think about this week's episode? I thought this week's episode was fantastic, and I would go as far as to say that I think this is the best episode of the series so far, in the exception of episode 1, because we all know that episode 1 was fantastic, and it was pretty much a feature-length, movie length. So it wouldn't be fair to compare this episode to that, but I will say that this episode was very strong, and like I said, I think is the best episode by far of the season, if you're not including the first one. Now, before I get into this week's episode, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all Oshi no Ko anime, as well as all anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys can, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So how the episode starts pretty much is that, Ruby's trying to, make her idol group, and we catch up with her, and she's pretty much, she's trying to convince Kana. And at first she's very hesitant to do it because she knows that Kana really doesn't connect with, Ruby like that. If anything, Kana kind of doesn't like Ruby at all. She kind of finds her annoying and kind of, a pain in the ass, because at the end of the day, Ruby has been treating Kana terribly up to now. She's been calling her names, and we know that Kana, she's very prideful, and, she doesn't put up with Ruby stuff. So, in this episode, we get to see that Ruby, she has to confront Kana about pretty much joining the group. She goes up to her, and because she's so scared, she has to tell Aqua to set up a date pretty much for them to meet. So she pretty much has Aqua text Kana hey, let's meet up. And to Kana's surprise, Ruby's there, because she was really thinking that, Aqua was, making her, go on a date with her or something like that, because we all know that Kana has a huge crush on Aqua. But no, it's not that. If anything, she's just being convinced to join the idol group, but Kana, automatically just rejects this, because she's like, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, and I already have my career, I'm an actress, and I don't want any baggage that comes with an idol. And pretty much what comes down to is that Aqua, he manages to convince her, because we all know that Kana simps for Aqua. So, Aqua just goes and, he kneels and he's like, please do this for me. Can you join my sister's group? I would really appreciate it. You're the only one that I can count on. You have such a cute face. And he's just sweet talking her, because he knows how to get into her mind, and he knows the right words to say to, influence Kana's decision at the end of the day. And she just says, no, there's no way, but you keep seeing her blush, and she's obviously simping, and then eventually, he keeps insisting, please do it. It would really mean a lot to me. And Kana's like, no, never, I'll never do this. And the next thing you see is literally her signing the contract. So obviously her simp tendencies came out, and they got the better of her, because she wasn't thinking rational, she was thinking with her heart instead of her head. But it's fine. I mean, she's a teenager, what else can you expect? And pretty much going forward from that, you see that, Ruby and her, they're like, yay, we get to be in an idol group. And Kana's more pessimistic about it, because she's like, we don't know just yet how we're going to get this going on. And it's like, what about Aqua? What is he up to? And what we find out is that, from the last episode, is that he was going to join a reality show. So we get a little bit of that. And pretty much you see the reality show, and it's all about a dating game. And you see some of the contestants. One of them is a YouTuber. And what we see is that eventually, we cut back to Aqua, and we see that he just absolutely hates this whole thing. This dude is dead inside. He hates every minute of being in this show, because he's playing an act. He's playing the heartthrob. He's super friendly, super sociable, and the heartthrob, like I said. And that's obviously not him. He's very cold and calculating, and at some points a sociopath if you think about it. But he's great at playing the act. So what we see is that eventually one of the chicks from the show confronts Aqua, and she goes up to him hey, how you doing, let's meet each other, and she's pretty much flirting with Aqua. So then eventually you see her come up to Aqua and just hey, are you in the show because you actually want to date somebody, for real? And he's like, well, I don't know, and she's like, are you in love with someone still? I was like, well, I guess you could say something like that, but it's not something in a romantic intent, but my heart is already taken by someone else. And we know that it's because, that was their mother, and he, cared so much about her. So seeing her die, it really affected him. And to this day, he's still, holding on to that feeling. And what you see is that she tells him okay, well, if there's anything they can do, you know, like she pretty much just throwing herself at him just to like flirt. And she's like, well, the cameras are right behind us, and you know, if you want to do something, let's, you know, like the cameras are right behind. And Aqua just like, whoa. And like this chick is like, I'll see you around. So this chick completely, you know, knows how to capture the moment when it comes to these reality shows. And I really did appreciate in this episode how you really got an insight of how reality TV works, because you got the producers and everybody setting everything up. Like, it's not really a reality what you see, you know, through the camera. It's, you know, it's edited, and there's also the producers that are scheming stuff, and you know, there's a lot of planning. So it's not all reality at the end of the day. It's a reality, it's a facade, you know, if anything. But continue from that, we see that we catch up with what Ruby and Kana are doing, and what they're trying to do is, you know, trying to figure out this idol stuff, because, you know, how are they going to make this happen? And eventually, you know, the manager, she has a great idea, which is, you know, like, what if they don't just make a YouTube channel? Which, to be honest, is the best way to go about it, because, you know, if they're trying to be blowing up soon, you know, YouTube and any social media website will be a great way to get your, you know, foot in the door when it comes to the show business. And what happens is the manager, she eventually tells them, like, you know, I know a particular social influencer, a YouTuber that is really, really popular, and he would be doing a collab with you guys to promote you. And, you know, Kana and Ruby, they're like, who's this guy? And then we cut to freaking P-John. I think that's how you say it. And this dude is like Giga Chad. Like, this dude is pretty much a dude that wears a chicken head, and he's just like buff, like super buff, and he just does like training videos for like younger middle schoolers and like elementary school people. You know, it's like a workout kind of, you know, YouTube channel. And this dude is just it was so out of the blue. Like, it was so funny, because I was not expecting to see just a jacked, you know, bird looking dude just show up and, you know, promote with them and collab. And what it comes down to is that they eventually do the collab, and while they're doing this collab, they gotta wear chicken heads too, and they gotta exercise. And it's funny because they exercise for a whole hour, because the guy's like, if he tells Kana and Ruby, like, if you guys exercise for an hour with me, then I'll let you guys take off the mask off, and you be able to, like, you know, give yourselves a shout out and expose yourselves to my, you know, big audience, because this guy has he gets like 100 million views a year. So this guy has a bunch of subscribers, so he's a big influencer. So they're like, sure, let's do this. And let me tell you, they really get it done, because they wear those chicken heads and they start working out, and they non-stop worked out for an hour. And the funniest part about it all is, at the end of the day, the chicken guy was like, yeah, I'm surprised you guys like actually worked out for that hour and kept up with me. I was gonna give you guys a like shout out anyway, because I was gonna edit it to make it look like, oh yeah, you guys, you know, worked out with me for an hour, but I wasn't expecting this to be actually what you guys would go as far as to do. So yeah, give yourselves a shout out. And then you see, you know, Ruby, and you see, you know, Kana, they take the helmets off and they just, you know, give themselves a shout out. And then the guy's like, what about your group name? And then, you know, Kana's like, I'll let you decide, Ruby, what's the group name? Because she, you know, Kana doesn't really care like that. And, you know, Ruby comes down with the idea of like, be Kamochi. So that's pretty much the same name as, you know, I's band back in the day. So, you know, she is going to take up her mother's, you know, like her footsteps, and that's how the episode ends. So overall, I thought this episode was great, and I like how we got to see more of Kana, because so far in this show, I would say that Kana's my favorite. Like, she's just so adorable, and she gives me like Shinomiya from Love is War, Kaguya vibes. So I love her. She's my favorite character right now. And you got to see some Aqua shenanigans, you know, how he's just suffering through this reality show. And, you know, we get to see some of Ruby and what she's up to, and how she's going to become an idol, because I'm 100% that's where the story's heading towards. But with that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi no Ko, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.